everybody, welcome to my YouTube demonstration on how to build a SIEM system using Elastic. In this project we're going to go ahead and configure a Windows system to include enhanced logging for user log on and log off. We're going to also configure it to log process execution and network traffic. The system is going to be using Elasticsearch as well as Elastic Kibana for the visualization component. We're also going to be using WinLogBeat to send logs from the machine to Elastic, as well as KQL to query for some logs, and Sysmon is also going to be similar to WinLogBeat, used for sending logs to Elastic. Let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so the very first thing we're going to have to do for this lab is to enable local security policy. Now, this is only going to be applicable if you have a home version of Windows, whether that's 10 or 11, doesn't matter. You're going to have to go ahead and run the script from the file that I have uploaded to my GitHub here. It's a zip file that enables group policy, but in this case I currently have a Windows 10 Pro Edition, so I will already have a local security policy already configured. Okay, so once you've made it to the local security policy application, you're going to go ahead and head over to your local policies and take a look at your audit policies. This is going to show you all the different types of audit policies that you have. As you can see, I already have audit process tracking enabled for success and failure, but we're going to go ahead and go in one by one and turn all of these on. So just give me a moment here. Alright, so now that we've configured our success and failure logging in local security policy, we're also going to go ahead and configure our firewall logs. So the way we would go about doing that is we're going to head over to the Windows Defender Firewall Advanced Security, go ahead and head over to right here and right click, go to Properties, and right here we have a logging section. We're going to go ahead and customize that, uncheck the not configured box, that root directory is just fine. Also uncheck that and configure these to say yes as well. Go ahead and press OK, and you're going to want to go ahead and do this for both the private and public domains as well. Alright, so the last thing that we're going to go ahead and do in terms of logging is enable Sysmon using the configuration file that I've left here in my GitHub. Shout out to Swift on Security. I went ahead and took the configuration file from his GitHub, so definitely take a look at him. So I have it right here in my downloads. First of all, we're going to take a look at Sysmon. We're going to go ahead and extract this file. And now we have sysmon.exe sitting right here. We're going to go ahead and head back to our downloads, grab the XML file and paste it into the sysmon directory. And from here I'm going to go ahead and copy this file path. We're going to open a new command prompt as an administrator. And from here I'm going to change directories to this file path, and we are going to execute the command that I have right here, which is basically going to install Sysmon with the configurations. Like that, we've went ahead and launched the Sysmon process with the configurations files that we need. And another way to check that is to go ahead and head over to Services. And if I go ahead and scroll down to S, we should see Sysmon right there, and it's already running, so we don't have to start the service. Alright, so now we're going to actually go ahead and install Elasticsearch. First I'm going to go ahead and clear my command prompt, just have it nice and clean. We're going to head over to our downloads folder one more time, and I went ahead and installed or downloaded Elasticsearch as well as Elastic Kibana. We're going to go ahead and just unzip. That's going to take a moment. Okay, so now that the Elasticsearch zip is unzipped, we're going to go ahead and run the batch file that is in the bin folder, the Elasticsearch batch. So I'm going to go ahead and head over here, just cmd, and then we are just going to run that real quick. And that's going to start the Elasticsearch Now that the batch file is done running, you can see that it spits out some valuable information. It gives me my username, my password, a hash of my certificate, as well as the most valuable thing, the token, which is good for 30 minutes. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to take all of this valuable information, I'm going to go ahead and copy it. We're going to go ahead and head over to Notepad and paste that on over there. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and reset the password that Elastic has given us by taking this part of the command right here and copying it. And we're going to head over to File Explorer, open up a command prompt instance here, and just paste that. That's going to ask us if we'd like to continue. I'm going to go ahead and press Y, and that's going to give us a new value. So let me go ahead and just copy this and place it right here. And now we're going to go ahead and log into our Elasticsearch instance using localhost. So Elastic runs on port 9200, so we should just be able to head on over there and press advanced, proceed. Our username is going to be Elastic, and our password is going to be the new one that we just went ahead and generated. So we're going to copy that, take that and put it in our password section, sign in, and this is going to be some valuable information about the system in which Elastic is running on. I'm just going to go ahead and take that and paste it down here as well. Okay, so the next part of this lab is going to be the fun part of the lab, which is installing and running Kibana, so we can see the visualization of our SIEM logs. But before we do that, in order to log into the localhost instance of Kibana, it needs a certificate, and luckily Elastic has provided that for us. If we head over to our Elasticsearch, there's going to be a section for config and then certs. And this HTTPACA cert is going to be the one that we want, so we're going to right click, install the certificate for the local machine, and from here I'm going to place it in our trusted root certification authorities. And now we have imported the cert for Kibana. My Kibana has finally finished extracting, so we're going to head on over to it, open up a CMD, and go to bin, and from here, CD bin, and from here we are going to run the Kibana batch. Give me one moment. Kibana batch, and that's going to launch up our Kibana instance. Alright, so once Kibana is done running, you're going to notice that it hasn't been configured, and it's going to tell us to head over to this website to go ahead and configure it. So just going to go ahead and do so now. It's going to ask me for an enrollment token. Now, if you guys remember, we did go ahead and paste that into our notepad here. The one caveat though is that it's only valid for 30 minutes. Now I did start up another instance of Elastic to see if we could get another code. So what I am going to go ahead and do is just grab this script right here, and I'm going to head back over to the Elasticsearch directory. We're going to run another instance of command line, and we are going to take the bin part out and get another enrollment token. Okay, so they just went ahead and generated another enrollment token for us, so I'm going to take that. It looks to be similar to the other one, but you know, you can never be too certain. So I'm just going to go ahead and take that and paste that right here. Okay, it looks like it was the same exact one. And we'll copy it one more time and head over to Elastic and paste that right here and configure Elastic. Okay, looks like Elastic is done configuring, so we're just going to go ahead and use that same username, which was Elastic, and we're going to head over to our notepad and grab that password that we had generated and throw that into the password section, and that is going to get us into Kibana. Alright, so now we are in the Kibana interface, and we're going to go ahead and add the WinLogB integration that's also going to generate logs from this machine and send them to Elastic. Alright, so I went ahead and downloaded the WinLogBeat zip file from my GitHub. If you don't trust me and think I may have some malware or anything like that in my GitHub files, you can just go ahead and head over to Elastic, add integrations, search up Windows event logs, and that is going to get you an install for WinLogBeat, if you want to go ahead and do it that way. But what I'm going to do is take my WinLogBeat from my downloads and extract that file, and then from here what I'm actually going to go ahead and do is open up an instance of PowerShell. We're going to need to go ahead and run that as admin actually. And just like my screenshot shows here, we're going to go ahead and change our execution policy to unrestricted so that we'd be able to run WinLogBeat on this computer. Now, this wouldn't be something that you would be doing in a corporate environment for security reasons, for PLP reasons, but for the purposes of this lab, we're going to make it work. So I'm opening up PowerShell here, and we are going to set execution policy dash execution policy unrestricted, and that is going to, oh, I messed up the format there. Set execution policy, there we go, and that's going to ask if we'd like to do it. I'm gonna press yes to all by doing A. Okay, so from there I'm going to head over to my WinLogBeat, and I'm actually going to put that in my C program files. And from here I'm going to change directories to it, so we're just going to do a cd. Alright, so at this point in time I accidentally hit the hotkey that cut my mic out, but essentially what I'm doing here is changing my directory to the program files where WinLogBeat is located, and I'm just running the installer.ps1 file here. And from this point in time, it's just going to ask me whether I'm sure. I'm just going to go ahead and type R to say run once. Go ahead and open up the WinLogBeat YAML file with Notepad++. The reason I'm doing it with Notepad++ is that everything is color-coded, so it's a lot easier to tell what is in hashtags and what's not. And I'm just looking for the section which it identifies the host, which I find here, and I just take away that hashtag mark so that it's actually applied, and the port it's using is 5601. Then I'm also adding HTTPS to it because we went ahead and installed that certificate, and I'm taking away the hashtag for the username for the Elastic section as well as the password. Okay, so the last thing I'm doing here is just saving the Notepad++ file and closing it out, and then heading over to the winlogbeat.exe setup and entering that into PowerShell, and then starting the service and confirming that the service actually is up and running by heading over to services and looking for it, and as you can see it says it is up and running. Okay, so now that the WinLogBeat service is started up, we can head back to Elastic, and if I take a look at the Discover tab, you're gonna see our SIEM. Now, because I have it filtered to the last 15 minutes and a specific event code you're not seeing right now, so what it usually would look like, I was kind of testing around with it, but if I close that and I update it, there we go, 89,000 hits over the last 15 minutes. I can change this to say the last 30 minutes or 45 minutes, apply that, and that's going to give me even more logs. And so for the Kusto query language part, let's say I wanted to query for events with the code of 1, I would just go event.code:1, and that's going to filter for all of the event codes that are one, as you can see here, and they're all spread throughout time. Another thing that I could do is take a look at, let's say, logs from a specific event provider, right? So if I want my event provider to be all the logs that are coming from Sysmon, you can just go ahead and click on that, and that'll show me all the logs that are aggregated from Sysmon. Lastly, what I was going to go ahead and show you was that you can go ahead and head over to the Analytics and Visualize library. This is going to help you create charts and nice visuals, which Kibana is really excellent in, and it'll really help in your coolness effect of your sim per se, right? So let's say I want, again, a event provider, right? I will go ahead and type that up, event.provider, and I want it to be a, let's say, a donut, right? So that'll tell me all the logs that are being aggregated from the different types of event providers, and from the lab we went ahead and did auditing as well as Sysmon and WinLogB. This is the ones gathered from WinLogB, and these are the ones gathered from Sysmon. Or I could say I want to do something like a pie, right? That'll be pretty similar. But let's say I want to do something like a table that's going to tell me where all my logs are being aggregated from and how many records of each there are. So that was the entire sim lab. I hope you enjoyed the demo. If you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the comments, and take a look at my GitHub. Thanks.